Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sunday League Pundits channel. We are back with another video, this time with Anshuman. He runs a YouTube channel called FPL Tips, dedicated to Fantasy Premier League. So, we've invited him onto the channel to discuss the top four race in the Premier League this season. First, so nailed on here, but all the other positions seems to be up for grab for the other teams. So, let's get started.
सो इन द लास्ट वीडियो ऑन एफएफपी हमने पीएसजी को थोड़ा बैश किया था, तो पीएसजी ने हमें ये जर्सी भेजी है। मजाक कर रहा हूँ, वैसे मैंने खरीदी है। तो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड ऑन द प्रीमियर लीग। फर्स्ट की बात करें तो अंशुमन, व्हिच टीम डू यू सपोर्ट मैन?
आई सपोर्ट चेल्सी।
ओह, चेल्सी फैंस, हाँ ठीक। तो अगर हम लोग सिटी की बात करें तो सिटी ऑब्वियसली नेल्ड ऑन द टाइटल। यूनाइटेड से 14 पॉइंट्स अबव क्लियर। यूनाइटेड हाई गेम ज्यादा खेला है सिटी ने, लेकिन हार्डली मैटर्स इन माय ओपिनियन. So, Anshuman, what are your thoughts on City this season and how good they've been?
I mean,
keeping in mind they start this season, काफी खराब था इस season, तो how they picked up their form? What are your thoughts on it?
हाँ, स्टार्ट काफी खराब था। I mean, पहले 2-3 गेम ऐसा लगा नहीं कि सिटी टाइटल मार लेगा इतना इजीली, but then again the squad depth have helped them a lot. I mean, because the rotation is coming on completely on point. Every match day they have about 6 and 7 new players, fit players, which helps them a lot. And Pep has changed his strategy in terms of formation and play, which also in my opinion helped this season. So last time जो उनके defensive errors थे वो काफी reduce हो गए. Rodri was shifted into a back three every time City were attacking, so that helped. Another very important thing in Pep's style this season was that he did not want to score a lot of goals. He wanted to score 2 or at max 3 goals and just contain the game, hold the ball for more time, and just not make his players run. So it helps him to actually even focus on other competitions. And you see, I mean, they're almost they're ahead in every competition, and they're still there in almost every competition available.
Achin, तुम्हारा क्या ख्याल है सिटी पे, कंसीडरिंग कि ऑब्वियसली यूनाइटेड वर इन अ टाइटल रेस विद सिटी फॉर अ ब्रीफ मोमेंट, 1 या 2 दिन की कुछ ही थी तुम लोग की, उसके बाद ऑब्वियसली सिटी हैव रन अवे विद इट. सो व्हाट डू यू मेक ऑफ पेप गार्डियोला दिस सीजन?
I think Guardiola this season, Anshuman touched on the right points. Obviously, if you consider from the FPL point of view, Guardiola is probably the most hated manager in the Premier League because उसकी squad rotation के चक्कर में बहुत लोग कितना suffer करते हैं. But coming to Guardiola's rotation, yeah, obviously squad depth. अगर आप देखो, start of the season was a little shaky. They lost to Leicester 5-2, and they were looking like very frail at the back. Even Diaz initially 2-3 हफ्ते convincing नहीं लग रहा था, पर अब तो आप देख सकते हो how Diaz and Stones' partnership is probably one of the best in Europe. But if you see, I think squad depth is one thing which has paid off for them a lot, because बाकी teams में they don't really have a second squad as good as City's. If you see the option City has on their bench, they can afford to bench the likes of Cancelo, the likes of Walker, the likes of Bernardo Silva, who probably would start for any other team in the Premier League and not be on the bench anyway. So I think that's helped them a lot. And obviously Pep ने अपनी tactics भी change किए हैं. He has been playing a false nine predominantly this season, which has helped him a lot in terms of, because false nine से he has different players who can operate in that false nine position. De Bruyne has played in that position. Foden ने भी खेले हैं कुछ matches, and we have seen Jesus do that as well. Obviously, Jesus is as a striker compared to Aguero, he drops back more. He is helping the team in the transition way more than Aguero does. So I think that's helped Guardiola in that respect. And I think that was a very necessary change, because पिछले season में Aguero काफी injured था, and he didn't try that false nine tactic out, which probably resulted in them drifting from the title race altogether. As the season progressed हो रहा था, there was only one clear winner last season, but this season I think he has adjusted well without Aguero. And अभी उसका press conference भी आया था, and he was referring to the fact that everybody is touting City to go for the likes of Haaland and Kane and even Lukaku. So I think he's sort of totally ignored all the rumors and said that we're not going to go for a striker. And I think that could be an indication कि वो false nine tactic को ही maybe he's going to use it throughout this season as well as next season.
ये बात तो है, क्योंकि सिटी की अगर देखें तो सिटी आप वेरी श्रूड इन द ट्रांसफर मार्केट. मतलब ऑब्वियसली ये कह सकते हो कि थोड़ा ओवर पे कर देती है प्लेयर्स को, लेकिन एक्स्ट्रा ओवर द टॉप जैसे उनकी साइनिंग 50-60 मिलियन, ऐसा नहीं कभी आप नहीं देखोगे सिटी इज गोइंग फॉर 100 मिलियन प्लेयर. मतलब हालैंड के लिए जाती तो ऑब्वियसली दे हैव टू पे दैट मार्क 150, लेकिन सिटी ऐसे देखो 50-60 मिलियन में कई सारे प्लेयर खरीद लेगी रादर देन गोइंग फॉर आउट वन प्लेयर अराउंड 150 मिलियन मार्क. तो स्क्वाड डेप्थ इसलिए भी उनकी काफी है. वैसे नाउ कमिंग आउट टू यूनाइटेड, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली सिटी आर द क्लियर फेवरेट्स. व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स ऑन यूनाइटेड सीजन? क्या अगर तुम ऑब्वियसली यूएल में you have beaten Milan, obviously away from home काफी Pogba turned up 1-0 expected नहीं था ये. वैसे UL में who you were facing next? मुझे ध्यान नहीं आ रहा है.
Granada.
हाँ? We are facing Granada. Granada would be a tough opposition to beat. मतलब आसान तो नहीं होगा definitely क्योंकि they are very Atletico type की टीम है कह सकते हो अगर आपको कोई comparison करना हो स्पेन से तो team like Atletico and they play 4-4-2 and work rate उनका बहुत ज़्यादा है and they have some good players in my opinion. मतलब obviously United की quality stands out लेकिन Granada is a good team. So what do you make of the United this season? अगर तुम second finish करते हो and you don't win a trophy.
I think blemish अपने season पे अभी तक तो यही रही है. We dropped out of the Champions League very prematurely, so that was something which if you see when the season ends, that will be something which you don't remember very fondly. But Europa League में देखो, I think we've performed pretty well. Milan का you said it was unexpected, but I expected it because our away form has been really good throughout this season and even beyond that. We feel a little less under pressure when we are playing away from home, which I think helps the team. Obviously हमने Milan के against it was a match which was very defensively we were very solid, but attackingly we weren't very dynamic, you can say. I don't think we were very fluid, and the standout players in that match were, if you take Pogba out of the equation, I think Lindelof and Maguire had a very good match, so and which actually gives you the whole story of how the match went. But if you come to the Premier League as well, even you mentioned Granada as well. Granada ने obviously Napoli को बाहर किया था, so I'm not taking Granada as a team which we can just walk over. And obviously उनका manager भी काफी young and upcoming and he's doing well at Granada. Diego Martinez, he's doing well at Granada, and they have players like Darwin Matches and Soldado, जो पहले Spurs में खेलता था. So we have players that can sort of have an attacking threat for Granada. So, but I think they are not as good as Real Sociedad, and we did deal with Sociedad pretty well. So I am hoping for a positive result. I am optimistic. But if you come to the Premier League, I think Premier League में the last couple of results have been really important for us in terms of nailing on for the top four, especially the City result and the West Ham result. Okay, West Ham ko, though you would not see them as a rival, but given how the season is going, they are sort of a rival for us in terms of top four and in and around that. So it was important beating these teams, and I think that has really given us a boost because I think we're 8 points clear of the 5th place team now. And Chelsea say we are 6 points clear. 6 points. Yeah. So I think that is a comfortable cushion, and we have like a few tough matches remaining against the likes of Tottenham. So I think given that we've been able to go through these matches sort of unfazed एक तरीके से हमने we have actually risen up to the occasion. If I compare this to last season, we did have a lot of instances when जब other teams were dropping points, we were not actually capitalizing on that, hence why we had so many draws and so many results not going in our favor. But this season एक positive progress जो मुझे दिख गया is that we have been able to grind out results at some points of time. कुछ off results रहे हैं, the likes of Sheffield, the likes of Crystal Palace, West Brom पे जो draws रहे हैं, that is obviously something had they gone in our favor. थोड़ी title race आप इसे कह सकते थे. Now it's sort of very one-sided. But to conclude with United, I think if we finish second and if we are able to get the Europa League, obviously FA Cup से तो बाहर हो गए. So I think that would be a successful season, considering the fact that nobody was actually fancying us for top 4 in the beginning of the season.
ये बात तो है कि तुमने सैंचो ने साइन किया तो काफी ये था कि यूनाइटेड आरिना मतलब पहली टीम यूनाइटेड ध्यान में नहीं आई थी, टॉप 4 की बात कर रहे थे. ऑब्वियसली यू डिडंट हैव अ वेरी गुड ट्रांसफर विंडो. सर अंशुमन से मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहता था कंसीडरिंग यूनाइटेड के बारे में कि इज ओले द राइट मैन टू लीड यूनाइटेड टू द चैंपियंस लीग और टू यूरोपा लीग और टू प्रीमियर लीग टाइटल?
I mean, if you ask me about winning trophies, I'm not sure if he's the right man. I mean, I know his strategies are conservative. Although when you look at in hindsight how United have developed as a team, or how the team eventually have risen up to occasions this season. I mean, last season they wouldn't win such matches. They wouldn't have won the Wolves match 1-0 where Rashford scored a last minute goal. Or certain match against Burnley when Pogba scored against them. Yeah. I mean, those are the matches where United were really poor last season, and they dropped points almost every such match. I mean, you expected last season to drop points against Burnley, against Brighton, against Newcastle, such teams which are defensively deep blocks. Crystal, especially, they lose to Crystal in the start of the season, but again, if they play Crystal again, I don't expect United to lose. And Ole, looking at the team development at the moment, looking at how the team is happy together. If you look at the happy quotient at the moment in the team, with Bruno coming in, Ole is doing a decent job. But when you look at UCL, I mean, just sticking to a back 3 or back 5 against big teams wouldn't just be a strategy. I mean, against United, people now have figured out that if you just mark Bruno out of the game, there's nothing much. There's no creativity out there. I mean, just put another man behind him, play a double CDM pivot against Bruno, and that's it. And just play a deep block, and then there's nothing United can do much apart from that. So there has to be a certain change of style. There has to be a certain change of mentality when it comes to big games. Apart from that, yes, it's working out well when you consider the certain matches such as City. It worked out perfectly well. A first minute penalty for United, and then a great pass from Henderson to Shaw, and then Shaw created that play. I mean, yes, can say both the goals were City errors, but again, credit to United for winning those games.
यूनाइटेड के लिए मेरे हिसाब से बहुत बड़ा एक ड्रॉबैक है कि दे ऑलवेज कम बैक टू द सर एलेक्स एरा. जैसे अब क्या कहते हैं, जब ओले आया, ही ब्रॉट बैक who is assistant manager right now, नाम भूल गया, जो who was at Hull City also,
Mike Phelan.
Yeah, he brought back Mike Phelan, Michael Carrick. मेरे हिसाब से तुम्हें एक ऐसा मैनेजर चाहिए जो तुम्हें सर एलेक्स से आगे लेके जाए, who has a vision तो हाउ यूनाइटेड कैसे खेलेगी, कौन हम प्लेयर साइन करेंगे. जो भी मैनेजर आता है यूनाइटेड में, मतलब ऑब्वियसली मोरिनो एंड वैंगाल हैव नॉट बीन सैक्ड, दे हैड अ विजन इन माय ओपिनियन. लेकिन जो भी अब अभी ओले आया, तो ओले यही बात करता है कि कैसे हम उस लेवल पे पहुंच सकते हैं जिसमें हम सर एलेक्स के अंदर थे. आई थिंक तुमको एक अपनी नई आइडेंटिटी बनानी चाहिए, कंसीडरिंग दैट सर एलेक्स इज गॉन and he's not coming back. तो मुझे लगता है कि तुम्हें अब सर एलेक्स आगे बढ़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि obviously it's not easy, क्योंकि he was the best manager and he was there for more than 30 years. क्योंकि तुम बार बार वहीं जहाँ से स्टार्ट करो तुम वहीं पहुंच जाते हो कि सर एलेक्स अंदर ऐसा होता था, ऐसा होता, ऐसा होता, तो हम वैसा ही करेंगे. अब वैसा दोबारा होना पॉसिबल नहीं, क्योंकि सर एलेक्स नॉट एट द क्लब एंड you need a man with a vision, my opinion, to move forward. वैसे अब थर्ड प्लेस पे आते हैं, कमिंग ऑन टू लेस्टर. व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स ऑन लेस्टर दिस सीजन, कंसीडरिंग कि लास्ट टाइम वो obviously they were unlucky to get out of the top 4. They were very unlucky with injuries. लेकिन इस season obviously the likes of Iheanacho have picked up form, जो last season नहीं थे. So Anshuman, what do you make of Iheanacho this season? And is he an FPL must-have? तो नहीं बन गया Iheanacho?
I mean, he's incredible in the last 4-5 game weeks on every stat. I mean, Iheanacho is topping the stats for in forward, at least for shots inside the box, big chances, for shots in overall shots, expected goal involvement. He's second to Kane, I think. But again, he's been doing great. And it is a change of formation which will come into play now. Now, I think there are two ways Leicester can go. They can actually remove Iheanacho and switch back to a 3-4-3 or a 4-4-3 like they did usually. The other formation which I expect could happen for Leicester is a 3-4-1-2 where Maddison is put into a 10 and then they play up 2 up top, which should ideally do better, and they can win those games. They don't have a tough run of fixtures coming up. I mean, when you look at game week 31 to 35, they have the easiest run of fixtures. I think they face only United in 37 or 36. That is one of the tough fixtures, and in game week 38 they face Spurs. So I think the Spurs, it could go down to the wire where they face United, and that could be a deciding factor, and then Spurs again. Because yes, they had some injuries and they're still managing victories. So the upcoming next 3-4 fixtures are crucial. Even tonight's fixture, if they get a result tonight, I mean, they're one step closer to actually securing the place for top 4, because then they would consistently get points up for the further games as well.
Arjun, what do you make of Leicester season? Considering last season, obviously, मतलब मैं तो कहूँगा unlucky थे, क्योंकि I think they deserved more than United and Chelsea to be in the top 4. क्योंकि before the lockdown they were very consistent. उसके बाद injuries आ गई and they didn't have the squad depth. लेकिन इस season obviously जैसा कि Iheanacho के बारे में बात की अंशुमन ने, so what do you make of Leicester season? Can they pip United to second spot?
I don't think it's just down to bad luck. Rogers ka thodi, he does lack the bottle. He has shown on several occasions. Obviously, they went out of the Europa League as well against Slavia Prague. So I don't expect Leicester. Obviously, they have improved this season in terms of getting those results. जो वो dodgy results पिछले season में notice किए थे towards the end of the season. कि when you were expecting them to win and they completely fell apart. I think it was against Bournemouth where they lost. जिसमें Jagiellonis Soyuncu, he got that red card and he completely lost his cool. So it really thought कि Leicester का season unraveled last season very badly. But this season, I think they have been more mature in terms of grinding out the results. The good thing is for them, as you mentioned and even Anshuman did, is that Iheanacho is sort of finding form. This is for probably the first time in his career at Leicester so far, where he's actually been able to pitch in where Vardy is not firing. So I think that's a very big factor in them staying where they are till now, and for them to finish this season in the top 4. I think they can come second. There is a good chance, but especially because Anshuman mentioned as well that they have a easy run of fixtures coming in, especially towards the end of the season. And before they come to the 37th game week or the 38th game week against United and Spurs, they can wrap it up top 4 till then as well, if they get the good results till then. So I think Leicester this season top 4 aa sakti hai more than last season, and they are sort of coping well. And I think Iheanacho will be a major reason for them finishing in the top 4 this season.
Also, also to add, Iheanacho just signed today. He just signed a 3-year deal, I think, at Leicester today itself. But the problem with Leicester is that they do bottle. I mean, with the players back in, I mean, yes, Barnes is out, Madison is just coming back, but they have a habit of losing fixtures again. Now they face City, then they face West Ham. West Ham again will be a crucial fixture because West Ham is eyeing that fourth place spot. Even for Chelsea, I don't expect a huge win for Chelsea today against West Brom. I'm really, really cautious about it as well because we are doing decent. We'll talk about it as well. But Leicester is a team in general who bottles, and I'm not sure. If I had to pick one team which will drop off of the top four right now, I would pick Leicester.
ये बात तो है क्योंकि वैसे put some respect on Brendan Rodgers' name, invincible था सेल्टिक के साथ भाई का. वैसे coming on to Chelsea, Anshuman has already talked about Chelsea. वैसे जब से टुकल आया, obviously you have picked up form. लेकिन सब लोग कह रहे हैं मतलब yes he has done a very good job. लेकिन मेरे हिसाब से other than Atletico you have not faced a very big test and जैसे लीड्स के खिलाफ you are not very convincing and in some matches you perform लेकिन कुछ matches में you do turn off. और मैं कहूँगा कि everybody has jumped the Tuchel train that he is very good, he is a very good man manager, he is a very good tactician. Obviously he does that very well. लेकिन considering ये कहना है कि he has just transformed Chelsea, मतलब जमीन से आसमान में पहुंचा दिया, ऐसा नहीं हुआ. Anshul, what do you make of that? What do you make of Tuchel in general?
What I make of Tuchel is basically he has defensively solidified our team. His extremely solidification at Lampard, when Lampard was here, there were nicks here and there where we were letting off goals. Against Southampton it happened, where we were winning and then we let off goals against West Brom. And a lot of occasions, even against Liverpool, it was a bad situation. City was a prime example of that. Now we don't let go goals easily. Yes, our transition play is great, but the final 20 yards we're making chances, but no one's finishing again. I mean, it's around the box again. Now with Lampard, we were around the box, not putting the ball inside. Now we are putting the ball inside, but no one's. I mean, it's either not reaching the player or the players are not finishing enough. That's something there. Apart from that, Tuchel has been a great signing when you consider it to the UCL and back like in September-November period. I mean, when Lampard was dropping November-October. I mean, that is a time when even I felt that if we're still in the UCL and we have a chance to UCL with the squad we have, we need a tactical change, a tactically pronounced manager who can actually decide a different tactic according to the opposition, which happened against Atletico as well. So that in that aspect, yes, we are good against big teams. Even against Liverpool, we won 1-0 because there is slight change. We know how to tackle big teams now. In the smaller games, yes, the Leeds game specifically, I would not blame the Chelsea team. Decent chances, yes. But when you look at the Leeds pitch, the ball doesn't roll. I mean, the ball stops in the match. So if a team that plays fast passing football like Chelsea, who's playing those passes inside, intricate passes and making overlaps, it is hard to do that at Ellen Road. That could have been reason, although wouldn't justify the performance again in the final 20. Chilwell was absolutely shit that game. Can't even. I mean, I don't have a better word for him because zero crosses, no ground crosses, aerial crosses, nothing, no ball reception, he was tracking back, but was not useful against Rafinha at all. So if Alonso would have played that game, I mean, I could actually see Alonso at least taking a couple of shots at the goal from that way. But again, as a manager, Tuchel, decent job because his tactical brilliance has been shown, excellence has been shown in different matches. I mean, he's not using a typical 3-4-3 or 4-2-3-1. I mean, you see the switch. He was using 3-4-3 and then he switched to a 4-2-3-1 when it was required.
Yeah.
So that is something there. And he's using the bench pretty much very well. Even today, he rested the players which are required for the UCL match. Havertz, Mount, Rudiger, all are rested. It's fair enough when you look at it in hindsight. We have a chance to win trophies right now.
So regarding your chances to win trophies, I do want to ask you and Utkarsh both about the Champions League chances of Chelsea because they are sort of being touted as the dark horses. You know, people are sort of considering City and Bayern are बहुत लोगों की favorite City and Bayern ही है, either of the two, but they are going to meet in the semi-final if they do win their respective matches. So do you think Chelsea sort of draw भी favorable हो गया उनके लिए Champions League में? So do they have a chance given how Tuchel, I think his tactics are very good for knockout football. I feel जो जैसा वो खेल रहा है उसके knockout football के लिए they are nailed on tactics because you know he does know how to see past teams which are going to be very compact or which are going to be expensive. So he does know how to which team to send out. So what do you think about the Champions League chances of Chelsea?
Personally, I think Porto is a good test for Chelsea because Porto again knows how to defend and they can play counter-attacking football decently. So if Chelsea break down against them, because we can defend now, We can sit back, score a goal, and then sit back again for the entire game. That is what is needed. If you go away or you're at home and the second leg is away, you can just sit back, score a goal, not let them score, and that is what UCL is predominated about till the final. If you look at the run, yes, it's favorable. Ramos is out for Real Madrid, so that gives a edge to Liverpool overall. Because in the last 10 games, where Ramos was out, Real Madrid have lost 7 games or 8 games. So Liverpool will eye that UCL fixture, and if we get Liverpool in the semi-final, I really fancy our chances to the final.
1-2 महीने पहले we were making a video on UCL when the round of 16 came out, and I said that against Atletico when Tuchel came, it's a 50-50 now because he's a very good manager as compared to Lampard. He has some Champions League experience. Lampard के पास obviously as a manager नहीं था, वो एक season बस एक ही season का था obviously Chelsea, and he got knocked out against Bayern. So when वो 50-50 tie था Atletico against, and they won it pretty easily. Second leg में they dominated Atletico. Atletico didn't create anything in my opinion, and Chelsea were on song on that day. और when I said that अगर वो पोर्टो या फिर कोई और आसान टीम, मतलब पोर्टो वाज द इजीएस्ट ड्रॉ, अगर वो पोर्टो से मैच कर जाते हैं and they go into the semi-final, उसके बाद फिर कह नहीं सकते क्योंकि semi-final is sometimes the nerves get to the players and the better teams do lose in the semi-finals. तो हमने देखा ऐसा होते हुए. So yeah, Chelsea is a dark horse for the UCL, and I think they will beat Porto in my opinion, क्योंकि Tuchel does know how to get past teams, especially you said he's a very good knockout manager. So I think they will get past Porto, and semi-final फिर देखते हैं it's Liverpool or Real Madrid. In my opinion, it would be Liverpool, जैसे already marked upon Sergio Ramos. और Liverpool आती है तो obviously Van Dijk and Gomez would not be back. So I do fancy Chelsea against Liverpool, and they can get a result against Liverpool in my opinion in the Champions League semi-final.
Just like small point about Chelsea, I think I'm not comparing Ole and Tuchel here, but I think जो अभी tactics Ole और Tuchel के in terms of having the two defensive midfielders in like Kovacic और Jorginho खेलते हैं for Tuchel, and Ole obviously हमारे बहुत inferior in comparison में, McFred as we call them. So I think McFred is obviously not up to the standard, but obviously that has really helped them solidify the back four as well, because एक defensive cover जो मिल गया है, the centre backs as well, that has helped the team in defensively a lot, because that is why you're conceding such soulless goals. I think in 14 matches in the Premier League, you've won 10 and drawn 4, and you've conceded only 2 or 3 goals. So I think that is a phenomenal record defensively, and I think the best thing about Tuchel is that he knows how to use the assets at his disposal, जो Lampard नहीं कर पा रहा था. I think उसने इतने players sign कर लिए थे, he didn't really know what his best team was, and I think Tuchel knows that. Not attacking wise, I think he's still figuring it out, but अगर बाकी team देखो, defensively he's worked out who he needs at the back, and that's why I think the results are showing.
एक पॉइंट और मुझे टुकल बोलना था कि ऑब्वियसली जैसे ही कोई मैनेजर नया मैनेजर क्लब में आता है तो व्हाट ही डज कि जो एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर होता है वो सारे अपने ऑन साइड लाना चाहता है. तो जैसे ही केम इन, एस्पिगेटो वाज नॉट गेटिंग अ लुक इन लैम्पार्ड, and he has brought back him, and he has been very good for Chelsea. He has stabilized the defense. Rudiger, to matlab he's not a Chelsea stalwart, lekin he is one of the senior members of the dressing room, so he has brought back him and German connection, and he has been doing pretty well also.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Tuchel and Lampard was very rigid with his tactics. I mean, he had a simple tactic, and he didn't want to diversify or change according to opponents, which exactly is the opposite of Tuchel. He knows which players he had. When you talk about Rudiger and Jorginho are two of his favorites in Chelsea's lineup. I mean, he wanted to sign Rudiger even in PSG, even Jorginho. So even when he was announced as the manager, even before the first lineup came on, we knew on paper that these two people will at least be starting as a revival. Alonso is a great comeback as well now, because Chilwell, yes, he has been great for Leicester, but again with Chelsea he hasn't been the best. I mean, if you look at his goal involvements or in general defensive stats or attacking crosses or interceptions, anything, he hasn't been up to the mark as we expected him to. Talking about Tuchel and Ole, there's a basic tactical difference between the two. Ole likes to play, both of them play two defensive midfielders, although the fact is that when Tuchel is playing a defensive midfielder, Jorginho drops into a back three, which allows Chelsea to actually overlap in matches and also have three defensive players at the back on the line. With Ole, that's not the problem. He's pushing ahead Van Bissaka and Shaw, and then he's not dropping one of Fred or McTominay into defense. Both of them are also about the same area in the pitch. And again, the quality of Fred passes was eminently seen in the FA Cup against Leicester. I mean, the more we talk about it, the more we can take about it. But there are certain areas where if United actually get replacements. Now we were talking about Pau Torres getting as a replacement. Varane is almost alternate transfer windows linked to United. But again, if Pau Torres is signed, he'll be still playing against with Maguire, which I think is slightly weak because Maguire I mean, you need to ask your captain who he really wants as a partnership, who he gets, because again, Maguire is way too slow when it comes to defensive duties. And the second person if I had to replace in United, I think they need is a Fred replacement. They need a CDM and basically right winger as well. I mean, tomorrow I expect United to play Bruno at right wing because they don't have an option unless Greenwood is completely fit.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Or they would do something like where they're playing Rashford on the right, which doesn't suit him. They need a
Rashford isn't totally fit right now, so I don't really know about United. I think Van de Beek खेल सकता है right wing, but Van de Beek को पता नहीं, he has some nudes of Ole that he doesn't really play him or something.
वैसे रोकी दे तो I wanted to pitch in with the point कि why United do not मतलब कोई defensive midfielder dropping क्यों नहीं करता, क्योंकि obviously जैसे Jorginho is very good on the ball. अगर McTominay और Fred को देखोगे तो you obviously marked out Fred, लेकिन McTominay is also not very good on the ball. So I think United वो afford नहीं कर सकती, उनके पास वो लग्जरी नहीं कि कोई उनके पास ऐसा CDM है जो पीछे ड्रॉप करे and they form a back three and then they build up from there. तो small point I wanted to make. Go on, Achin.
Yeah, McTominay does play for centre back for Scotland. I know, ironically, I don't know why he's not able to do that. But even Matic has lost his legs completely, so you can't really. पिछले season end of the season he was so good, and then he's sort of pulled off a Willian now. That he got and now he's completely lost his form. But yeah, moving on from United, I think we'll come to Mourinho, and obviously Anshuman knows a lot about Mourinho and Spurs. कैसा कर रही है इस समय? Obviously, it's been very topsy-turvy this season for Spurs. At one point of time, we were fancying them for the title. Some pundits, or at least Tim Sherwood especially, but उसके बाद आप देख रहे हो कि क्या हो रहा है Spurs के साथ. They have been sort of, the season has gone off a boil, especially after losing to Dinamo Zagreb. So I'll start with Utkarsh. What do you think about Mourinho? Do you think he can finish top 4 this season? Because especially I think the 4th place is still up for grabs for Spurs as well if they do find form. So what do you think about that?
Definitely कि अगर तुम ये कह दो कि Spurs टॉप 4 में नहीं फिनिश करेगी तो आई थिंक मोरिनो की डिसरिस्पेक्ट होगी इन माय ओपिनियन, क्योंकि स्टिल अ टॉप मैनेजर में मेरे हिसाब से जितना भी लोग कहें कि इज पास्ट इज प्राइम, लेकिन मैं आई डोंट काउंट हिम आउट जब तक सीजन खत्म नहीं हो जाता. आई थिंक क्योंकि 3 पॉइंट का डिफरेंस है तो ऐसा कोई बहुत ज़्यादा डिफरेंस भी नहीं है. तो आई थिंक दे स्टिल फिनिश शॉट फॉर अ टॉप 4. लेकिन ये है कि मोरिनो कैसे अपने उनको ड्रेसिंग रूम को मोटिवेट करता है, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली दे लॉस्ट टू ज़ाग्रेब, 2-0 की लीड थी एंड दे लॉस्ट 3-0. तो इट्स वेरी मतलब एज अ प्लेयर मेंटालिटी पे बहुत इफेक्ट करता है आपकी. तो हाउ डज ही चार्ज अप हिज स्क्वाड अगेन? एंड आई थिंक अगर वो ही ब्रॉट बैक डेली इन सम मैचेस यूरोपा लीग उसको वापस ला सकता है वो, एंड इफ ही कैन परफॉर्म टू हिज लेवल आई थिंक दे आर इन फॉर अ शॉट फॉर द 4th प्लेस. लेकिन मेरे हिसाब से इट वुड बी हार्ड टू लुक पास्ट चेल्सी, क्योंकि चेल्सी are really consistent in my opinion. What do you make of Tottenham, Anshuman?
With Tottenham, I think, the Zagreb game was unfortunate. I mean, Lloris itself, as being the captain, has said that the mentality, the attitude was not right on the pitch. They said, and it was evident that certain players were not. I mean, you could see Tottenham just jogging around on the pitch until they were too old. So it was a state where they thought that they'll win, and that is the clear mentality. And Mourinho explicitly changed the team next match. He had 4 changes out there. He had Bronzo in, he benched Bale, and I expect that to happen this match week as well. And if they have a decent chance. If Leicester, I don't think Chelsea will lose out because they're too consistent, as you guys mentioned already. Because we are good at getting those 1-0, 2-0 wins all occasions. If Chelsea draw today against West Brom, then it could be a good Tottenham will eye that match against Newcastle to win it. Apart from that as well, now that they are in no competition apart from the EFL final, I think they have a decent chance. They have a decent run as well. So, but they are at the mercy of other teams to lose games and a lot of games, because Chelsea isn't going to easily give away games, easily give away points. They'll eventually draw at max, but they'll still getting those 1-3 odd points. So for Tottenham, it's going to be tough. Lo Celso coming back is huge at the moment. Because he at the start of the season was really essential. Nobody could feel Ndombele clearly couldn't fill that void. I mean, you could see Ndombele struggling passing the ball ahead. He did a couple of decent passes and decent games, but again, overall, Ndombele couldn't fill that void. Lo Celso is back. Moura has found his form again. So that could help in terms of Bale replacement. Overall, the season had dropped because of injuries. Again, you can't blame injuries again and again. Last season as well, the injury was a blame. But I do trust Mourinho. I do like him as a manager, so I don't count him out of the top 4 until it's like the last game week.
I think one major reason why Mourinho is sort of not has not succeeded from say the end of his Chelsea days to United, and to now Tottenham is jo I think the players, the new crop of players is really a big reason why I think he has sort of shown at least at Tottenham that he wants to change his tactics now. Uska jo bhi assistant manager, it's not Rui Pereira anymore, it's that guy he was at Lille. So I think he is sort of showing some sort of you can say flexibility in terms of changing his tactics somewhat. But agar aap dekho, the players he is having at his disposal are not really like the ones of John Terry and Didier Drogba, the likes of Lampard, just who could run through a brick wall for him. I think that's a big reason why Mourinho is not succeeding, and it's really hard nowadays. I think it is happening repeatedly, especially at Chelsea. It has happened at United. That sort of the dressing room that has a bigger say than what the manager does, and I think that is why a big reason why I think even at Tottenham, if things do not go to plan for him, I think there are a lot of players who can sort of go against him. I think abhi sab onside hai because of his reputation and how big he is as a manager, uski jo CV hai. But I think if they do not finish in the top 4, I think it could go very sour very quickly, and I don't think Daniel Levy will be wanting to continue with Mourinho. But yeah, obviously his reputation does demand respect, and I do think that they can sort of push for the top 4 position. But it's, as Anshuman said, it's very difficult given the fact that baki teams ko bhi have to do them favors. Basically they can't really, even if they win all their games, they can't expect to finish in the top 4 if other teams do not drop points. But if we move on to the lesser likelier challengers,
एक point मुझे बोलना था कि before we move on to West with the likes of West Ham and the other Liverpool, we will not talk about Liverpool. I'd like to come on to Arsenal. मतलब brief में थोड़ा सा discussion करना चाहूँगा before we end this. So Anshum, what do you make of the Arsenal season, considering कि obviously we are 10th in the table? Not a very good season जो हमने जो start किया था, and the signings we made, we had a lot of hype around Arteta and our season, लेकिन obviously it has gone down the drain. And ये की hope है, silver lining कह सकते हो कि we face Slavia Prague in the UEL. So if we can, I think we should get past Slavia Prague in the UEL, and then it's on those semi-finals. Semi-finals में देखते हैं भी किसको face करेंगे. So if we can win UEL, I think it will be a very good turnaround. And if we don't, I really don't know what's next for Arteta. I think मैं sack तो नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि obviously he's a good strategy, he has a vision for the club. लेकिन अगर तुम उसका Emery से record compare करो तो after the 49 games, if I'm not 14 or 50 games in the Premier League as a manager, so Emery had more than 12 or 13 points in the same number of games. So yeah, board is a little more patient with Arteta because he's obviously a former player. Lekin he needs to start producing results, in my opinion, as a fan also. And अगर results नहीं आते हैं तो I think Arteta sack तो नहीं होगा ये season, तो अभी उसके पास है. लेकिन next season if he doesn't pick up form and we are not consistent, I think we could see Arteta getting the sack. What do you make of Arteta? How good a job he has done at Arsenal?
Talking about tactically, I do like Arteta. I mean, you could see a change in Arsenal from last season to this season. Players like Smith Rowe, Odegaard, he's using them properly. He's using them, especially in the Tottenham game, where he on the Doherty flank, he doubled up. I think Tierney and Smith Rowe from a 10 position, and then Odegaard was also passing there. And he knows how to exploit spaces. He knows how to tactically break down teams, which is great for a manager. And he's a new manager after all. He's not that experienced after all. He's an assistant manager at City. Now he's learning. And if he gets, I mean, Aubameyang has been a flop for the entire season, to be honest. So if Aubameyang could have done better with Lacazette now turning into form, it could have been a different story. So if in hindsight, I don't see them in top 4, obviously. But Europa is a decent shout. I mean, the only other favorites in my opinion is United. And I do think that if Arsenal face United in the final or in the semi-final, Arsenal can actually win over United. Because he knows how to break down those tough, decent. He's done it before against United as well this season. Mm-hmm. But should he get sacked? No, in my opinion, he's doing fine. I mean, with the players he has at disposal, the transfer market he had, and overall, I mean, when you look at Arteta as a manager in comparison to the other managers who have various amount of money, various amount of players at their disposal, he's doing decent. Next season, should he aim for top 4? I think ideally. There are a lot more managers who can actually finish top 4 and a lot better teams, but he should be above the likes of Everton or probably at least at par with West Ham or Tottenham at the moment. Also, just a point to add Tottenham. I think Mourinho, irrespective of his Europa, top 4 finish or not, he might not get sacked, and it entirely depends on the EFL final because. If Mourinho wins them a trophy, he's like a god because they haven't won a trophy in, I don't remember when they won a trophy last time. So that match could have huge impact on Mourinho's future at Tottenham.
Yeah, ये बात तो सही है, लेकिन जैसे तुम you are talking about Arsenal, I think ये है कि थोड़ी disrespect कर रहे हैं लोग आर्सेनल की, considering the likes of West Ham and Tottenham. चलो Tottenham is a big club. Considering the likes of West Ham and Everton, I think Arsenal Football Club is a very big club, and we do not, मतलब ये लोग कहते हैं ट्रांजिशन में क्लब है, but still in transition we should not be 10th in the table in my opinion, क्योंकि we are too big of a club to be this down in the table, and we should be at least in the top 6, not top 4. We should be at least fighting in the top 6. And लोग कहते हैं कि ट्रांजिशन में है and he should be given time. Yeah, he should be given time. I'm also on the Arteta board that he's doing a good job. लेकिन ये कहना कि ट्रांजिशन टीम and that's why they are 10, he does not have a very good squad, तो ये गलत हो, क्योंकि आर्सेनल फुटबॉल क्लब इज अ वेरी बिग क्लब, और 10वां होना एंड इतना खराब स्क्वाड नहीं है कि हम 9th or 10th, वी आर लैंग्वेजिंग 9th and 10th in the table in my opinion. Yeah, this is my fan coming out, लेकिन just the point I wanted to make. Go on, Achin.
Arsenal is entering this conversation solely because Utkarsh is in this video. ये तो आती नहीं, but jokes aside, I think Arteta को, I think it's if you compare it to Ole in terms of his situation at the club, I think he will be given at least till the end of next season as well, before he is sort of considered to be sacked, because एक 2-3 साल की window, I think if you're going with a newbie manager, I think you do have to give him that window, because you know sometimes things can turn out well. You know, Zidane और Guardiola का example देना बहुत खराब होगा इस point of time पे, but you know, obviously that is something which could happen or could not happen. But if you see the types of things, there are positive signs of development at Arsenal. I don't think थोड़े Emery के अंदर there was something, you know, they get like 2 steps forward then 3 steps backward वाले situation थी Arsenal के लिए, because I think defensively they were very suspect under Emery, but under Arteta at least one thing we have seen is that defensively they have been good. One big thing for this season has been that lack of discipline. Obviously red cards जितने खाए हैं Arsenal ने, and you know they have sort of, you know, the players actually are bottling on a lot of occasions, the likes of Xhaka, the likes of David Luiz ने तो इतना नहीं किया, but there are players who have sort of, you know, let the team down in general. So I think if that were not to happen, Arsenal could be a little higher up in the table. I think, but I agree with Utkarsh with regards to the fact that, you know, fans should not tamper their expectations. I think that's what's happening at United as well. You know, if you are a big club, I think your expectations should always be where they are supposed to be, and you cannot be considering 10th as a sign of progress. You have to be at least in the top 6, and then even if he doesn't win anything, and if he did finish in the top 6, I think that would have been positive sign for Arsenal, because they finished 8th last season. But this season, if they are not to win the Europa and, you know, finish somewhere like 9th or 10th, I think that is question marks on Arteta. But if we move on to
Liverpool,
Liverpool. Yeah, go on.
And this is the thing with Ole. I mean, you can see changes in the team, the progress in the team when you compare it to last season. I mean, you can clearly see that they are actually progressing as a team. They stand a chance to win trophies this season. Now they are in the Europa. They have a chance. FA Cup, unfortunate. They were for a small duration, but at least they were considered as a title challenger for a small duration of time, which is also respectable when you compare Ole to last season. And he's doing a decent job. I mean, I don't see Ole getting sacked, or I don't think he should be with the progress he's doing at the moment. At
Ole
least
also
another
getting a new contract as well. So
another season, and if he doesn't do well with the players he gets or player at his disposal, then probably you look at another manager with some other vision with the team. But as of now, at least Ole is doing better than Arteta in terms of development, and should at least stay.
Yeah, but moving on to Liverpool, and we will come to the minnows, but obviously Liverpool is entering the conversation right now because of how this season has gone. Champions League में we can consider that to be sort of a saving grace for them this season. If they do manage to have a good Champions League campaign and potentially do win it, it's very difficult, but that could happen. We've seen that happen in the past. So what do you guys think about Liverpool this season? And you know, obviously injuries have been a very, very big factor, the predominant factor why Liverpool have sort of are where they are. But apart from that, do you think there have been comparisons to made to Dortmund's last season under Klopp and Liverpool's this season Liverpool, because they sort of, you know, went off the boil completely. Like they lost all energy. It seems like a very defeated team. So do you think those comparisons are correct?
Nah, in my opinion, क्योंकि obviously they are doing good in the Champions League. और या डॉर्टमंड वाला that was a very big downfall. उसमें कोई इतनी इंजरीज नहीं थी, कंसिडरिंग कि उनका, अगर तुम देखोगे, मुझे याद है, it was his last season at Dortmund, and at a point of time they were 16th or 15th in the table. और उसके बाद eventually they picked up form, they managed to finish 6th or 7th. So ये कहना कि the Dortmund season we compare करना is not fair, makes no sense to me. और अगर लिवरपूल की बात करें इस सीजन, तो obviously Van Dijk is injured, Gomez is injured, and मुश्किल है इस सीजन में वापस आना उनका. The saving grace has been the Champions League. लेकिन Champions League में जैसे थोड़ी सी लीप्जिग की बात करना चाहूँगा. I was very disappointed with Leipzig, क्योंकि first leg में they didn't show any commitment, any endeavor. मतलब लग ही नहीं रहा था they wanted to win this match. Second leg में obviously they were 2-0 down, so they had to play a certain way. They showed some obviously first leg से comparison करो तो they were a lot better. लेकिन Liverpool took their chances and they eventually got out. तो Madrid को face कर रही Champions League में obviously Ramos is out. तो वो जो WWE मैच था Salah और Ramos के बीच में would not happen right now because the photos that were coming out of the gym were really funny. So I think Ramos का बाहर होना ये है कि as a neutral I think काफी मतलब देखना चाहता था the best teams come out for both. So Ramos is a very big player. मतलब he's the Van Dijk of Liverpool. Disrespect वैसे Ramos पे कहना he's the Van Dijk of Liverpool. He's Sergio Ramos. So Sergio Ramos out. I think Liverpool will go through क्योंकि Ramos के बिना स्टील नहीं दिखती मुझे मैड्रिड के मैचेस में. एंड दे वेरी लीकी एट द बैक क्योंकि उसके बाद फिर वरान है. वरान इज नॉट द बेस्ट डिफेंडर. अगर रेमोस नहीं, ही इज वेरी गुड रेमोस, लेकिन रेमोस नहीं होता तो वरान की जो फ्रेलिटीज हैं वो दिखने लगती हैं. एंड उसके अलावा एडर मिलिटाओ हैज नेवर क्लिक्ड एंड नाचो he is a squad player in my opinion. So Liverpool should get past Real Madrid in my opinion. Anshuman, what do you make of the UCL tie between between Liverpool and Liverpool Madrid? Yeah.
Before the time in Liverpool have genuinely been lucky. At one point even I thought that kuch to kala jadoo ka, I mean there is some bad eye at them because every player they're getting, every main player is getting injured. I mean, I haven't seen such an injury-ridden season for any team in the recent past. So yes, it did affect Liverpool a lot. Henderson is really important now. He's injured. As soon as Fabinho could have, I mean, Fabinho came into the midfield, Henderson got injured. Fabinho had to play in the defense for a long time. Van Dijk out, Gomez out, Matip is out. They didn't have any backup. The backup they bought, he also got injured. Ben Davies getting injured. I mean, it's clear when you look at the injury list for Liverpool. Yes, it makes a difference. It makes a difference to the team. Now Fabinho is back in the midfield. Phillips has now become a very solidified defender. So it will help them. Trent is being pushed ahead again. So you can see Trent putting in crosses. And these are the small things which will help Liverpool at least to give it a shot to UCL. Klopp in a press conference I remember mentioned that it was probably to ease out the pressure on the players, but he mentioned that realistically top 4 isn't possible for Liverpool this season. Yeah. So it isn't a morale down thing, but it's most likely to ease out the pressure on Liverpool, and now their entire focus is on the UCL tie. Coming to the UCL match, I highly rate Ramos as a leader on the pitch, as a team player. I think he's an exceptional defender. I mean, he carries the Real Madrid team forward. And as I said, if Ramos is out, when Ramos was out this season, Real Madrid have lost 7 or 8 out of 10 games, which is huge when you take it in comparison. And Liverpool might actually win this game if they find form. I think they should definitely try a 4-2-3-1 with Firmino back today again, tomorrow or today against Arsenal. Yeah. And if that works out, that could be a great thing for Real Madrid as well. Because if Fabinho continues to play, and hopefully no injuries for them, if Fabinho continues to play in midfield, he's one of the best center defensive midfielders I've seen in the Premier League, apart from Kante. I think NDD matches his level, but again, Fabinho is a ball stopper at his own level. Yeah. He's the one who actually he can defend the team, drop in between, can play the forward passes as well, diagonal passes as well. So should be a relatively easier tie. If Ramos would have been there, I wouldn't have thought of Liverpool having a chance in that team.
ये एक पॉइंट आई मिस्ड ऑन लिवरपूल की जोटा इज आल्सो बैक एंड फायरिंग फॉर, क्योंकि अभी इंटरनेशनल ब्रेक में ही पोर्टुगल के ही स्कोर्ड अ ब्रेस, देन ही स्कोर्ड one goal against Luxembourg. So obviously he's back in form, and if Jota can maintain them form, जैसे उसने सीजन की शुरुआत में गई थी और फिर वही अनलकी विद इंजरीज, ही गॉट इंजर्ड. If Jota can maintain his form and Mane can join in the party, क्योंकि साला has been chipping in goals here and there. अभी पिछले 4-5 मैचों में he didn't score, लेकिन still is the top scorer in the Premier League. He has 17 goals and I think Kane is on 16. So yeah, Salah की quality will come through. He's also on penalties, so I think he will get in a goal in 1 or 2 matches. If Mane can join in the party, I think Liverpool could have a strong finish to the season.
I think Kane is on 17 as well. Kane is on 17. Also, Kane has now taken over Salah for the Golden Boot race according to the odds. So Kane is 40% likely to win the Golden Boot. Also, that is why I mentioned 4-2-3-1, where I expect Salah to be in the forward role or Jota to be in forward role. They need to play Firmino, Mane, Salah and Jota together to actually have a chance. So Wijnaldum and Fabinho can drop in midfield.
But I think one thing which is sure for Liverpool season, I think a good finish isn't so sure, but Klopp isn't going to go anywhere. I think he's going to still stay there until 2024 जो उसका he has said कि मैं contract अपना see out करूँगा. Then he'll see what he wants to do after that. But I think this season it has been a very injury ravaged. Obviously पिछले 2 सीजन अगर आप देखो लिवरपूल के, they didn't get hardly any injuries. So I think उनका लक एक साथ खत्म हुआ, like sort of just ended up blowing up in their face. So they are unfortunate with regards to injuries. But I have seen a sort of Liverpool being unable to break teams down when they have had some players as well. I think Trent Cup season has been a downer this season. There have been a lot of people who have been coming in to defend him when he did not get into the England squad. But I think this point of time he did not deserve to get into the England squad right now. I think going into the Euros he should go into the Euros, but at current moment of time I don't think he performed well enough to go into the England squad. Obviously that's a completely different story. Gareth Southgate has a lot of questionable picks, especially Eric Dyer को इसने pick किया था England squad में, so बेचारा Trent कैसे miss out कर गया we don't know. But I think there have been some players who have not been up to the standard. I think defensively only Robertson is somebody who's been there consistently throughout the season, and I think he's been reliable for them throughout the season. But if you come to other players, I think Liverpool obviously they didn't have a stable midfield, which is very important for any team, and they were constantly asked to change it around a lot. Leipzig match mein, I think the reason I think Utkarsh was disappointed with Leipzig, but one thing about Leipzig is I think in Champions League matches especially, I think they are they're not clinical at all. I think अगर वो अपने chances को capitalize करेंगे, they can actually pose a threat because they start off a match very well. They have 4 to 5 chances during the first half or first 20 minutes, and because they're not able to convert them, eventually उनका style ऐसा है that the players sort of tire, and then the team which has better quality can obviously beat them. I think that's what happened with Liverpool as well in the first leg, because the first leg I think Upamecano missed his clearance, and then they scored one goal. I think there was another goal which was sort of a Leipzig mistake as well. So I think Leipzig sort of had themselves to blame in that fixture, and I think Liverpool were good, but they were not as impressive as you would expect them to be, because अगर अच्छी standard of opposition होती who was more clinical, I think Liverpool could have been beaten. But if we come to the minnows now, finally, if you come to West Ham and the likes of Everton as well, and their chances of finishing the season in the top 4, do they have a shout? Like, what do you guys think about Everton especially? Because Ancelotti, to his credit, has really improved the Everton squad, and for his to his advantage as well, that Everton have that Fayed Mushari, unka jo owner hai, he has a lot of money at his disposal, and I think he is pumping that into Everton. And last season they did make a lot of shrewd signings as well, the likes of Allen, Doucouré, and Godfrey and Hamis, all of them who came in. I think all of them have been very good players in their own way. So
with Everton, it is possible. I mean, I was looking at, they have a match left against Aston Villa as well. So ideally, speaking about it, mathematically yes, but when you look at the team, they are very defensively weak, which has come to haunt them at times as well, leaking goals, and they have a tough run of fixtures coming up. They have to still play Spurs. I think Aston Villa isn't an easy game as well. So the fixtures aren't easy, and when a team is defensive, I mean, it is very important to note that a team actually does well when the defense is good. I mean, you need to have a good defense to win trophies, to get into the top 4, because everyone will score, and it's almost that it's like every team actually have a chance against Everton to score. So with that defense and the defensive injuries they have, I don't see them finishing in the top 4 or having a chance at the moment. Talking about West Ham, yes, West Ham has a better chance at the moment. Definitely, they're in the team in the form, and they have been the surprise team of the season. I mean, when you look at the players they have Souček, Declan Rice, Bowen, Benrahma, Lingard, who has just came from United as a loanee, and then he's just banked 5-6 goals in 7 appearances, 5-6 goal involvement. So when you look at this team, you look at they're a team with motivation, the right players with the right form, and they have a better chance. With Everton, it's always up and down. BCL again, he's not in form. James Rodriguez, he's almost injured every alternate game. So I mean, people just forget about him, that he's even injured or fit, and some things like that. So I don't see Everton actually finishing in top 4, even with Ancelotti, with the reputation he has. West Ham has a way better chance, in my opinion. They have the right motivation, right team players at the moment, and the right team chemistry. Definitely, I mean, they have a better chance than Tottenham or Arsenal, for that matter as well.
Arsenal is so out of context for top 4. वैसे West Ham की बात करें तो I think Lingard should be in for the PFA Player of the Year. So coming on to Everton का ये है कि वेस्ट हैम और एवर्टन में थोड़ा सा कंपैरिजन करूँ तो वेस्ट हैम में वेरी सेटल्ड स्क्वाड. डेविड मॉयस नोस हिज बेस्ट 11, लेकिन अगर तुम क्या कहते हैं Everton देखो तो there are always some changes. Yeah, DCL, Richardson, if they are fit, and James they are fit, they always start. लेकिन जो कि obviously Allen has been injured a lot this season. We talked about Rodriguez. Doucouré has been good. और सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत मेरे ख्याल से जो एवर्टन के साथ है कि कोलमैन हैज लॉस्ट हिज लेग्स आफ्टर द हॉरेंडस इंजरीज ही हैड, तो उनको एक नए राइट बैक की जरूरत है. जॉन कैन ही शोड सम गुड फॉर्म एट शैल्के, लेकिन अब उसको फिर सेल्टिक को लोन कर दिया, तो आई थिंक ही डजंट हैव अ फ्यूचर. एंड एंचेलोटी उसको फैंसी नहीं करता, वरना उसको ऑब्वियसली क्लब पे रखता, कंसीडरिंग ही इज
they are being linked to Max Aarons, so I think they could sign Max Aarons.
they could sign Max Aarons, लेकिन जैसे बेन गॉडफ्रे राइट बैक खिला रहे हैं, फिर मेसन होलगेट राइट बैक खिला रहे हैं. होलगेट हैज प्लेड राइट बैक इनिशियली इन हिज करियर, लेकिन बेन गॉडफ्रे हैज गुड पेस, सो ही कैन प्ले राइट बैक, लेकिन जो डिलीवरी होती है और एक जो मतलब अटैकिंग सेंस होता है राइट बैक का, वो गॉडफ्रे में नहीं है. ही इज अ सेंटर बैक. तो आई थिंक टू फिनिश एवर्टन टॉप 4 इज अ बिट काफी बड़ा टास्क है उनके लिए. अगर अगले सीजन दे आर आइंग फॉर द टॉप 6, आई थिंक दे नीड अ राइट बैक इन माय ओपिनियन, एंड दे नीड अ राइट विंगर इज एज वेल, क्योंकि अगर आप उनकी टीम देखो तो बर्नार्ड, एंड ही हैज बीन गुड इन फ्लैशेस, लेकिन यही कि आप यू साइंड हिम ऑन अ फ्री, ऑब्वियसली पता था कि ही इज नॉट अ वेरी गुड प्लेयर, ही कैन शो सम मोमेंट्स ऑफ ब्रिलियंस, लेकिन एक सीजन में परफॉर्म करना तो वो उसकी बस की नहीं है. इतना उसका मतलब उसकी हिंदी बोलो तो औकात नहीं उसकी पूरे रीजन परफॉर्म करने की. तो आई थिंक दे शुड साइन राइट विंगर इन माय ओपिनियन, और राइट हैंड साइड को थोड़ा स्ट्रेंथ करने, नए प्लेयर्स ऐड करने की जरूरत है if we want to finish in the top 6.
I think you are forgetting Iwobi, £40 million man.
I'm still not sure how we managed to sell Iwobi for 40 million, lekin I think we'll take the money.
Yeah, but Everton's, I think the biggest reason why they could miss out on top 4 is obviously the injuries, as well as they have so many players that they couldn't utilize. I think Mamin, they signed the midfielder, the Ivory Coast midfielder.
Last season,
he has been out for the entire season. Even last season they couldn't use him. So I think Ancelotti ki big challenge he has is sort of clearing the dead wood from Everton as well, because unki jo transfer windows rahi hain over the years, they've been very haphazard. They haven't been able to, I think they signed a lot of players sort of एक अर्जेंसी में, अननेसेसरी अर्जेंसी में खरीद लिए, लाइक्स ऑफ इवोबी, अब सिगर्टसन भी है, और ही हैज आल्सो बीन गुड इन क्लैशेस, नॉट बीन कंसिस्टेंट एज वेल. सो आई डू थिंक दैट द टीम लाइक एवर्टन, they can miss out. I think Anshuman did make a very good point regarding their injuries, and even Utkarsh, because right back is the right side is completely devoid of any creativity because of the injuries, and especially also because of their approach in big games. I think the FA Cup match against City, I think they were just letting City have all the ball and just command the whole match, and obviously a team like City is eventually going to break you down. I think if it didn't do it in 90 minutes, I think extra time they would have done that. So I do think Ancelotti, I think he's sort of using the team pragmatically in terms of what he has at his disposal, but I think once he gets his transfer window, I think they could kick on next season. I think this season they could finish in the Europa League places, but not in top 4.
Also, I mean, the fact that James Rodriguez can't track back, it actually weakens the team, because I know he's attacking wise, he's great, and the balls he puts and the crosses and everything, but that leaves you with one less defensive player when the team is defending, and at n number of occasions teams have actually targeted that right flank where James is not tracking right. Recently, yes, Ancelotti did change that formation. He didn't allow James to track back. He covered them with a second defensive midfielder, which worked out decently well against Liverpool in that game, specifically that game. But again, you can't rely on a player who's not defensively tracking back, especially when the team's overall defense is not good. And to add to the fact that they don't have a proper right back as well, it's just like Sone pe Suhaga for every other team, that the right winger isn't tracking back, the right midfielder isn't tracking back, they don't have a right back. So yeah.
I think regarding West Ham as well, I think Lingard has been robbed of the player of the month at least 2 months in a row. I think he should have won it at least this month as well. So obviously it's nice to see him, despite he didn't get any action at United at all. He was completely out of the squad, and despite lacking match fitness and match sharpness as well, he's fitted in. He's just like a glove at West Ham, and I think he might go to West Ham at the end of the season. They could sign him, and I think that he's a good player to have at that number 10 position. So I think West Ham ka bhi, the West Ham का क्या है that their team which is going in momentum. I think if they do get unfortunate with injuries, Antonio अगर injure हो जाता है वापस से, they have some sort of defensive injuries. They've been lucky because Kufal जब से उनका आया, he's been constantly playing at right back and he's been a very good player for them. Even their midfield has been intact for the entirety of the season. Declan Rice has been playing well. Souček, he has 9 or 10 goals in the Premier League this season, which is obviously a major boost for them. So I think I'll place West Ham above Everton. I think West Ham are my sort of. I'll come to the predictions just when we end the video. But I think West Ham, I think they can grab the 4th spot this season. I have some sort of feeling that they can actually do that this season.
Yeah, एक point और मैं सूचक की बात करनी थी. I think सूचक is the greatest anti-10 after Fellaini when he was back at Everton. मतलब I think he has found his next Fellaini in सूचक. और सूचक shout out to सूचक as well कि अभी midweek में he scored a hat-trick for his
Czech
country was it?
Czech
Republic. He scored a hat-trick. मतलब he has turned around his मतलब ये है कह सकते हो कि he was a defensive midfielder when he came in, लेकिन जो उसका threat है opposition box में, and he has been fantastic. I think he's been one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League this season. जो उसका goal output भी है and defensively is also very good.
He's like Moyes' new Fellaini, obviously.
Yeah,
because when he came in from Slavia Prague, maybe I think 2 seasons in a row he was the player of the season in the Czech league. So I think that's a very good signing by even Bowen as well. I think they have made very good signings West Ham recently, which you don't actually associate with West Ham क्योंकि उन्होंने Haller भी जैसे भी sign किया था. They have made a lot of signings which have not worked out. So it's good to see that Moyes is sort of getting that Everton form back. But now I think we can conclude. And before we conclude, we're just going to get the predictions in. So I'll start with Anshuman. So what is your top 4, top 6 prediction for this season?
Top 4 and top 6. I think first, pretty much City. I think there is no debate about that. Second, I think United will finish in the top 4. I'm not saying second. I think they'll finish in the top 4. I think Chelsea will eventually finish in the top 4. And I do think that West Ham will finish in the top 4 over Leicester. Then obviously I think Tottenham and Leicester. I don't think Liverpool will make it to the top 4. Or either way around, let's say Liverpool and Leicester will make it to the top 6. Tottenham will drop out. I mean, the gap is just the gap is so close. You can't really say on the 5th and 6th position. It will go to the edge. But I think Leicester and because of the fixtures Leicester and Liverpool have from now till the end of the season, they might edge it.
Yeah, अगर मैं अपने prediction की बात करूँ तो obviously जो winner है, there is no doubt City is going to win the title this season. Second पे है तो I think United have a good cushion over Chelsea. तो top 4 मेरे ख्याल से उनका भी लगभग confirm ही है. अगर कुछ tragic नहीं हो जाता तो अलग बात है. लेकिन I think they are going to finish in the top 4. Third, I think Leicester is going to do it this season considering उनके पास last season का experience भी है. The run-in they had. और इस सीजन की ये मैडिसन वापस आ गया. बार्न्स इज ऑब्वियसली आउट फॉर द सीजन, लेकिन मैडिसन वापस आ गया. ये नाचो हैज बीन रियली गुड. ही वाज द प्लेयर ऑफ द मंथ दिस सीजन इन द प्रीमियर लीग. तो आई थिंक दे कैन फिनिश टॉप 4. आई थिंक जो टॉप 4 अभी है, आई एम गोना स्टिक विद दैट इन दैट ऑर्डर एज वेल. यूनाइटेड, लेस्टर एंड चेल्सी. 5th की बात करें तो दिस इज इट गेट यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा टाइट है क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली लिवरपूल आर ऑन 46 और 47 पॉइंट्स. वेस्ट हैम इज ऑन 49, स्पर्स इज ऑन 48. तो यहाँ पे प्रेडिक्ट करना बहुत मुश्किल होगा. लेकिन इफ आई हैड टू गो फॉर अ टीम, आई थिंक टॉप 6 के बाहर तो नहीं जाएगा मोरिनियो. आई थिंक आई एम गोना गो स्पर्स 5th एंड लिवरपूल 6th. आई थिंक वेस्ट हैम विल ड्रॉप आउट ऑफ द टॉप 6 unluckily.
Okay.
I hope they don't. I really want to see them playing in either Europa, as in direct Europa or UCL.
Yeah, वैसे एक पॉइंट और कि अगले सीजन को UEFA कॉन्फ्रेंस लीग भी शुरू हो जाएगी. I think we made a video on that. So if you want to check out what is the UEFA conference league, you can find the link in the we put in the description or you can find it in our channel. So UEFA conference league भी एक ऑप्शन है वेस्ट हैम के लिए. लेकिन यूरोपा लीग में शायद I would not fancy them to finish top 6. I think Liverpool and Tottenham but have too much quality for West Ham.
I think my first place is obviously going to be the noisy neighbors, very unfortunately, Manchester City. Second, I'll go for United. I think we are showing some signs of maturity which have been lacking over the past few seasons. Third, I'll go for Leicester, and fourth, I'll go for West Ham. So this is I'm probably not a betting man, so please don't come at me. And I think this could be the top 4. I think Leicester, they have learned from the mistakes, and I think Iheanacho is somebody they can finally rely on for at least the final end of the season. But I think West Ham, I just have some sort of inclination towards West Ham finishing in the top 4. I think their momentum is going to carry them through. Obviously, it's very stupid for me to say that, given that Tuchel is doing wonders at Chelsea right now. He's unbeaten at Chelsea so far. So I'll go for Chelsea in 5th, and I'll go 6th Tottenham. I don't think Liverpool will finish in the top 6 this season. I think other teams also have quality which Liverpool do, and they have momentum as well. So I think that's one thing which Liverpool don't have, which other teams do. And I think momentum towards the end of the season is very important, especially for teams like which are lower down the table. As a relegation run-in jo hota hai, I think a lot of teams which avoid the relegation are solely down to momentum, sometimes not due to quality. So I think with that we can end the video. Thank you to Anshuman once again for coming on. It's been a very long video, and I think we really enjoyed it. Please check out his channel. We'll leave a description down. We'll leave it in the description down below. FPL tips, and we did have some FPL references in here and there, but obviously Anshuman knows a lot more than us about FPL. We have been playing FPL as well, so you can get all the insights from him on his channel. And with that, I think I'm hoping for like more collaborations in the future as well. We can have and leave it in the description down below. What do you guys think of this collaboration? Did you enjoy it? It's a long video. I think I require you guys to be patient and watch the entire video. I think you'll enjoy it, but it's something which you will definitely like. And if you like it, please subscribe to the channel and subscribe to Anshuman as well. Thank you.
I mean,
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me over. Thanks, and
It was a
hopefully
pleasure.
collab ahead in the future as well.